Hi, welcome to Module 1.4, the NIH review process and inside look. So I want to start by outlining the core review criteria that are used to evaluate your proposal at NIH. Number one, the significance. And so that is how will the knowledge be improved if your aims are achieved? Number two, the investigator. Are the PIs well suited to the project? Number three, innovation. Is the proposed work technically or conceptually innovative? And it can be both. Approach. Are the methods and analyses appropriate to accomplish the aims? And finally, environment. Will the scientific environment contribute to the success of the project? In addition to the core review criteria, your proposal will receive an overall impact score. The score reflects the reviewer's assessment of the likelihood for the project to influence your field of research, and it is not an average of the 5 core review criteria scores. Scores range from 1 to 9, with 1 being the best, 9 being the worst, but scores higher than 5 are usually not discussed during the meeting. Even though they're not discussed, ND applications are given reviewer feedback, and an ND means that the proposal will not be funded. Keep in mind that it's possible, though, to get an ND on an initial submission and then go on to get a fundable score on the resubmission. Your score is going to be posted on ERA Commons 1 to 2 business days after the study section meets. And then your summary statement will be posted later, within 30 days of the meeting. Some unscored review criteria would be protections for human subjects, vertebrate animals, resource sharing plan, budget, and authentication of biological resources if you have them. So before the meeting, each reviewer will get several applications to review. Your application will be assigned to 3 to 4 reviewers, usually 3. The reviewers will prepare a detailed critique of your proposal that'll be distributed to the panel of reviewers before the meeting. The reviewers will each assign a score for the core review criteria and a preliminary impact score. And then during the meeting, the primary reviewer, reviewer 1, will present your proposal to the panel, focusing on the strengths and weaknesses that drove their impact score. And then the second and third reviewers will add their opinions. The panel will then have an opportunity to discuss the proposal and ask questions. The reviewers will then give their post-discussion scores, which may or may not change from the preliminary scores given before the discussion. And then the panel members each submit an overall impact score. So understanding your impact score, so scores that you receive in ERA Commons are going to range from 10 to 90. Although scores higher than 50 tend to be triaged or not discussed. The score is an average of the impact scores from all of the members of the panel and multiplied by 10 for ease. So a 1 means exceptional with no weaknesses. Then when you get 2s and 3s, you're getting into a few or negligible minor weaknesses. 4 would be strong with numerous minor weaknesses. And then once you get into the 5 to 6 range, that means there's at least 1 moderate weakness. And then 7 through 9, there's 1 major weakness or a few major weaknesses. All right, so what are minor weaknesses? These are weaknesses that are easily addressable. They may be something that you can easily change or clarify. A moderate weakness would be something that lessens the impact of the proposal. An example of this might be not addressing rigor and reproducibility, not addressing sex as a biological variable. These are things that are important to NIH. A major weakness would severely limit the impact. So if you have a flaw in your premise, if you have aims that are dependent upon one another for success, those would be major weaknesses. How to deal with an ND not discussed. So applications that are marked ND were not discussed at the study section meeting. Usually that means the proposals received an average preliminary impact score of 5 or above, sometimes 4.5, depending on the study section. If you receive an ND, it means your proposal has at least one moderate weakness that limits its impact. So proposals that receive an ND on the initial submission, keep in mind, can be funded on a resubmission, but there's, of course, no guarantee. So an ND does not mean the proposal has no hope of being funded. So some things to keep in mind for our module 1.4, you want to understand the difference between significance and approach. Those can be easily confused. Know that investigator and environment are scored review criteria. And then understand how proposals are reviewed during the study section meeting helps to tailor the proposal better to get a better score. And then knowing how to interpret your impact score is really important. Okay, thank you.